Welcome to the Hermitcraft RECAP. My name is PixelRiffs, our writer is LoyXP, captions on this video were provided by Liara, and we seem to have survived the pop-up purge despite having run this show on a shoestring budget out of our spare bedrooms for 6 years and definitely not having an ender chest on the premises. If Cubfan ever becomes the YouTube CEO though, we'll have other problems. And a lot more videos about space, probably. The Hermits proved themselves to be various colours on the spectrum of bothered to unbothered, and while nobody has actually had their permit taken away, we're waiting to see quite how, when, or indeed why the permit office enforcers will put their mouths where other people's money is. So without further ado, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. By this point, it's safe to say that August the 2nd is done with, and just as promised, the permit office enforcers have cracked down on the supposedly low-effort shops of their choosing.
It's purging time.
And then he permitted all over those guys. Fittingly, Grian actually sneaks his own Prismarine shop under the deadline, his Prismarine palace sticking out of the middle of the river since the waters have claimed them both this season.
I had such a difficult time getting these bits here to work with me.
Really, that is an awfully teal building for the guy whose primary opinion of the trial chambers is that they make quality copper too easily obtainable. We have the same opinion about Azuma Void, hilariously.
20 minutes in a single trial chamber. If I had to get that much copper before 1.21, it would take literally hours.
The rest of the small and unfinished, the authorities move into the cordoned off area behind the Poe headquarters, much to the protest of a few of the owners. Pearlescent Moon for one puts up a good fight, but she certainly has a leg up in proving her bone truck is not a pop-up shop since, much like me from the store today for some reason, she brought the receipts. Turns out at one point Good Times with Scar already approved of the truck as a fully fledged business, and so Pearl is able to Uno reverse them and issue her own citation.
You know, we originally had a bone to pick with the bone shop.
That was over the postal lady.
You saved your shops. You saved your shop.
Their scuffle with Ijevin does not go as smoothly. While his Endstone mini-boat is in fact pretty small, the puddle of glass void it rests on is actually pretty well executed and took him a lot of effort, so you can see how he's got a point in not letting the vessel be commandeered. And the situation only gets worse when he reveals his enemy stand, 10 to 20 heavily armoured wolves.
Doggy delivery system, let's go!
What the heck?
What? That's awful.
Are you sure that you want to condemn my shop?
The way he could just summon a swarm of wolves like that as an intimidation tactic actually took some redstoning out, and you could argue them also being on fire only adds to the effect. But ultimately, the floaty is taken to the stall graveyard, and Ijevin swears to still have his revenge via malicious compliance, as opposed to via the swarm of wolves, which mind you, work just fine on Skizzleman.
Well, if they want a big in-ship, maybe we build a gigantic one that's so stupidly obnoxious that it bugs them and they have to come bother me. Moving forward, my goal is to be annoying.
Skizz is relatively unaffected in the grand scheme of things, perhaps because his hierarchy of needs base has already taught him the value of life, capping off with self-actualization this week as a celebration of Skizz going full-time on YouTube.
I am now officially full-time content creation. So that means I've been self-actualized. So what you may not have known is that I just left a 20-year career in big tech that I was doing very, very well in, but well, I know where my heart is.
The pyramid shape has actually taken over some other nearby features too, as he quite literally steps up his terraforming to tetraforming. Even the wall of Impulse and B-Dubs' Cyberpunk City isn't safe, as he self-actualizes some geometric graffiti onto it. But after the PoE office begins its shop graveyard/yard sale, Skizz discovers a pop-up hidden under their noses, and the noses of various monstrous cartoon characters. Joe Hills, after being discouraged from building a pop-up shop in person by Cubfan, decided to put his tough and calcite shop inside the giant multi-headed nether portal. That way, he reasons, if the permit officers wanted to destroy the shop, they'd be doing Pearlescent Moon a favor by destroying the portal as well.
Playing the game in a way that brings you joy. You should probably reconsider how you're playing the game, right?
Joke's on both of them, since Skizz surgically removes the shop but leaves the portal intact. Joe doesn't seem to mind either way, since the only other adjustment he's had to make is where he trades in all his freshly mined stone for frog lights, and said frog lights are going a long way to help illuminate the grounds of Hermit Homedale, which are significantly drier now he's cleared out the last of the water that isn't being preserved as an aquarium.
Well, thank y'all so much for your help, because people were like, Joe, you should use an elaborate redstone machine to remove all the source blocks at once. I was like, those chunks will not be loaded?
The honour of removing the last few water sources and watching the waters satisfyingly recede falls to the 4 contestants who help Vintage Beef road test TCG Go. And we do mean road test. The matches happen on the neighbourhood alleyway Stress Monster and Iskal were building for their murder mystery project. It's basically a card game street fight instead of an arena tournament, and the first murder is no mystery. It's B-Dubs crushing Joe in their 1v1.
This may not have been the wisest choice. Because...
No, I'm pretty much dead now.
yeah, because
the new format is pretty smooth, helped along by editable signs, making it easier to keep track of player health, and it's quick enough that they can fit in a round-robin set of matches into Beef's video before heading off to unflood Joe's community project.
You can come down.
look at all that land.
Beef also confirms there shouldn't be a permit for selling TCG cards, considering he plans to give them away, but we'll see if the resale market takes off. In the meantime, Cleo is keeping the ultra-rare Etho card. Now Zombie Cleo's been hit with the pop-up purge no less than others, since while their book business has been booming, their Soul Sand enterprise is equivalent to a coughing baby. Fittingly, their more permanent shop for the stuff appears to also be just out there constantly screaming, which... relatable. There's plenty of that to go around, what with Azumavoid out there having made a pyramid scheme out of dying to slimes. We've already covered his first foray into the mob-spawning potions of modern Minecraft, the Silverfish prank on Impulse that didn't work out too well even after he fixed it.
This had me logging back onto the server, running around in caves and waterlogged areas under Impulse's base.
Oh no, how many are there?
Probably a lot.
No! Oh no!
Which is why this time he ain't taking any chances and just locks the target hermit in a pit with enough slimes to entity suffocate them.
And gotcha!
Hey! What is this?
Oh no! Zettelbob, what you gonna do?
What's happened?
Sneezed at me?
This death message being pretty embarrassing, the victim is then all too happy to invite someone else to come and help them with the slime menace, only for that person to then die to the Nickelodeon sludge monsters, and so the cycle continues through Skizzleman, Zedaf, and Scar. Except for False Symmetry, who straight up refuses to follow the blatantly suspicious man into the murder chamber.
This is definitely a trap. Oh, so why is Impulse here?
She didn't come in the door!
I didn't do it!
She's too good!
Zilba!
She didn't
I
come in
knew!
the door!
I knew it!
The joke's on her, the armadillos she takes home from the ones at Rendog's base are actually secretly space rats. Having rehomed the alien rodents, False once again expands her home base with new builds, and this time the Merchant of Flowing Water and the current holder of the Universal Permit Snatch, False actually hits the riverside and is forced to squish the buildings to still leave a space for walkways. Also, she builds a decorative music store that advertises horns it can't sell. If you want more misuse of mobs for mischief, it is our pleasure to introduce Scootball, Rendog's latest contribution to the world of server minigames. It's also a contribution to his own lore, which is why it's located by his base and not inside a minigames district. The goal is simple. It's the big hoop at the end of the field you're supposed to kick the armadillo into. And yes, armadillos are occasionally harmed in this game, which is why the referee carries splash healing potions.
Dude, is it in the box of red? In the box of red!
What a save!
You saves 5 feet double low!
Wind charges also play a key role in moving the critters around, although after the first few test games he wonders if it's worth limiting their use just so it doesn't become a spam fest. But he already has a few good ideas for rules and regulations, a 2v2 format, and automatic armadillo retrieval.
Sorry. Yeah, we got to like repair the ball like between each goal, right? I think.
Yeah.
Doc M77 has an even more unethical way to use mobs. Having kicked off this season torturing allays in his storage system, he now does it for XP too. We've seen this trick used elsewhere on the server already, but in case you're unfamiliar, allays can out-heal most sources of damage, but when splashed by a potion of infestation, they have a chance to produce silverfish whenever they get hurt, so the right setup can generate infinite silverfish on demand for an XP farm, and Doc is more than capable of setting up an auto-brewer for the potions too.
So now I just need to stock up a little bit on stone, but that should be no problem. We just, stone. I mean, there's lots of potions that can be brewed with that.
But karma may be about to strike, since when he goes to visit the pop-up shop graveyard, he finds some diamond ore embedded in the PoE's signage, and even more signs at his shop confirm that the repentant ore snatcher may have been a copycat.
Did the ore snatcher actually bring back our diamond ore? Because, things. Development, guys.
From auto brewers to auto crafters, XP Crafted wires up a system to turn all these prismarine shards his base generates into useful building blocks, although not the sea lanterns because he only uses those a handful at a time. While he's doing some more work on the walls of his base, a couple of polar bears naturally wander in from the frozen ocean, leading him to reconsider the decorations he had in mind for the grounds around the monument. At least the waterfalls will fit in nicely with a custom ice spikes biome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the stuff. Okay, so that way it's got like a little bit of earthing, right? It's got a little bit of copper color, but it's also got the oxidation color. Oh, it's so that's really nice.
Pearlescent Moon has been too distracted for building, what with Gemini Tay using wind charges to rattle her trapdoors and having her own purpose sent to her in the mail by an imposter.
I don't understand.
Are you sure you didn't send this to yourself by accident?
Oh,
and you've just
I don't know.
forgotten?
I just happened to forget. Oh, yeah, my bad. I totally addressed myself in third person and also misspell words. That's something too.
In case she needs to solve these disputes, she crafts her first mace, although she tested out on Azuma as a neutral party.
Woo! That is so
I'm
much
over here
fun.
now. Okay, this time.
Her next target is much more hostile. She wants to one-shot the Warden, and the first few attempts don't go particularly to plan, unless the plan was to watch most of her gear despawn in front of her.
No. That is...
Fortunately, the mace survives that ordeal and the rest is easy enough to recreate, after which she decides she'd better bring backup and asks Tango to mace the Warden with her, although she crushes it first try when there are people around to watch. In case the mace skills aren't intimidating enough for the Popo, Pearl also has a rock-solid defense when her bone truck is branded a pop-up. She has Scar literally on the record saying it isn't. And finally there's Mumbo, who didn't have to wonder what would happen to his iron shop if people bought all his stock before the Popo arrived, because the answer is they took it anyway.
This is actually unjust! Mate, I'm fuming! I'm actually fuming! What on earth?
In a fit of pique, he draws a mustache on the front of Cubfan's billboard, but that still doesn't upstage what someone else did to the back.
Oh, who would make Skiz look that silly? Who would put a little pair of buttocks on the back of Skiz there? Oh, they should be stopped.
He continues modelling his actual iron shop after an iron mine, complete with mob head sound effects to simulate machinery clanking and whirring in the background. But there's still the problem of where all the stock went, which Mumbo finds is easily resolved by turning up to the impound lot and simply walking out with it. If possession is 9/10 of the law, repossession has got to count for something.
I still take issue with the fact that this was deemed a pop-up shop. It was very clearly named the Permanent Iron Pile.
And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP and my name is PixelRiffs. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next week.